Hi, hello and welcome in this Google Drive API tutorial. Today we will talk about how to set up your server-side code in a way that allow you to communicate with Google Web Service, okay, and more precisely in our case, Google Drive Web Service, okay. So before dive more deeply in the subject, I will talk to you with the requirement you need to follow this tutorial. Firstly, you need a basic understanding of JavaScript language, okay, and you need also a basic understanding of the Node.js language, so JavaScript running on the server side. In these two cases, I can assume that if you're following this tutorial, you get the level to follow the instruction and to follow the different steps because trying to include an API probably means that you already have some understanding of the different of the JavaScript language. Okay, so you also need a Google account. Okay, because the Google Web Service API works with Google accounts simply. Over all this precisions, if you have already visited the console.developer.google.com website, is even better. Okay, same for the Google Drive web service. If you already work with that, it's even better. But it's not necessary to already have done this different thing, because what we will do is very simple, and we'll discover that it's very intuitive. So if you want to just discover that in the same time and following the tutorial, it's okay. So we will start by now. I will just show you what you need in terms of materials. Okay, so firstly, we will use the Node.js engine. Okay, so you can just download this on the Node.js.org website. Okay, it's very easy. You need here different OS here. Okay, it's very simple, and I will need personally as the Atom editor. So you can again just download the Atom editor on the website of Atom. Okay, so very easy. But there is also there is a lot of other editor very great. So use what you want in terms of editor. It will be great. Just be be confident. Be be in haste with your editor and see it will be okay. So now I'll just present you the different requirements of material and knowledge. I will talk about what we will do concretely. So concretely, we will set up firstly a service account on the Google console for developers. Okay, so what is a service account? Concretely, when you want to work with Google Web Service, in our case, you more often want to handle some data. Okay, so you want to reach data and handle them, work with them, etc. Okay, this kind of stuff. This data that you want to reach, it's more probably links to an account. Okay, so and this account is itself can be itself declined in several types of accounts. Okay, it interests us in the fact that it will be you will work with another kind of account depending on what you want to do concretely. Okay, so if you want to reach the data of your visitor, so the user's data, okay, so your data, the personal data of your human, you will need to configure your API code in a way that allow the user to receive a request of authorization from your web application. Okay, your programs. Okay, so in this case, to handle your visitor data, you will need this authorization. So you will configure your API code with in the three parts. Yeah, there is three characters in this story. The other main way, because this is in fact the two main way you will encounter the user data and the service account, the user account and the service account. In the case of the service account, you just want in fact to communicate with a web server. Okay, you don't want to reach any user data, any personal data. You just want in fact to communicate with a Google Web Service. Okay, it happens when you use the Google Web Service as an external server for your application. Okay, you store in the web service either data, either function, what you want. Okay, so in this case, it's not about asking to the any user if you want to reach their if you can reach their personal data. It's not that. It's the data of your programs. Okay, it's why we talk about service account. Okay, in this case, service account API in some way. So how we can talk about service account, because it's not either human, but it necessitates a human to create an account in all cases, and you're right. But the fact is simply that you will just create a Google account and provide this account to your programs. It's very simple, as you can see. So it is the case in which we will work today together in a service account way, okay, service account API some way. So what we get to do, we will reach the console.developer.google.com website and set up a service account for communicate with a Google Web Server. Okay. Quickly, also another thing. As you can see, I have a folder here. Is Drive API docs. It's just some documents that we will use in our journey. Okay, to configure the Google Drive API. Okay, so I will by the same way open the steps we can follow. Okay, here I will just talk you about the requirement. Okay, about the matters of to install. Now we will go on the console.developers.google.com to set up our service account. So let's go. Okay, I can just now close these different tabs and go on the console.developers.google.com. Okay, when I launch a request to go on the website asks to me to authenticate my account. So do the same, and we can do now. We can dive in the website console.developers.google.com. So here, what we will do is to go on the manage resource page. Okay, so you open the tab on the top left of the page, top left, yes, top left, and okay, so follow my cursor. Okay, and now you can just create a project. Okay, so we will call this project the Go App Google Drive. Okay. So now I can just create it. As you can see, you have an education here that prevents you that creation is ongoing. So now we have received a notification. It's okay. Go App Google Drive have been created just now. So we can click on it, and it's open for us the a page of our project, the home page of our project, as you can see here, the dashboard. So now what we will do is to go on the EIM and admin, open the service account page, and we will just create a service account simply. Okay, so we get to name our service account. I will basically name it Google Drive API. Okay, so as icon today is here, Google Drive API is the same. We get to select a role for a service account. So it means what is our service account in for the Google Web Server. Okay, so the Google Web Server, the Google Web Service that we serve a service account, get to consider our service account as an owner of the project, getting full access to all resources. Okay, so it's okay. Now we finish. We ask for a private key. Okay, so this private key contains some information very useful to make an authorization request, to authenticate our service account, this kind of stuff. Okay, so click on JSON because it's a standard, it's recommended, save, and this is JSON that we will use with Google Library. Okay, this is a standard we will use. This is the type of file that we will use. So now service account and key created. So service account Google Drive by created. The account's private key, some information is saved on computer. Okay. The service account key allows us to access to our cloud resources. Okay. So this is in fact the more important information here. And it's not if you lose your private key, you will never. It's not possible to resend you another key. So be very careful and store it very carefully. Okay. So now I will going on. My download. So I will just use it because I think it's rational text for us. And I will copy. I will just let it that here for the moment. Now that we have created the JSON key, but I can just show you what there is inside. So as you can see, there is project ID, private key ID, private key, client email, client ID, auth URI, token URI, auth provider. There is some information on client, etc. Okay. What is interesting? What is interested for us is that there's two lines. Okay, there's two properties. Okay, private key and client email is the two things that interest us now. Okay, so we will go back later on the private key. And now what we got to do is to enable web service in order to work with. So go on the API and service and click on library. Now welcome in the new API library. So Untitled Drive, because it's a Google web service we will use, and enable it. Okay. So the application is the enable is ongoing. Okay, so it can take some minutes. Okay, and now as you can see, we are enable it, and we can disable it if we want. So now we will go on the dashboard. And as you can see, the Google Drive API is here. The dashboard indicates us enabled APIs and services of a project, and the Google Drive API is mentioned. So it's great. It's okay. We have enabled it. Okay. So now what we can do is we will just now start to configure our project, okay, in the code of our project. So I open my Atom editor, and I will create a project directory name Google Drive API. Okay, it's well created, and I will just go in. So yes, and now with Atom we can call it for in the project board. So I call my folder. Okay, it's arrived. So now what I will do is to initiate my package JSON. So it's okay now, and then I will just download or I will install, more precisely, the module that we need to build our API code. So I need just Google APIs library for for this tutorial, okay, to build our Google API. In fact, Node.js Node.js has also all the other modules that we need, okay, on the road. So it's very great and it's very light. It's a very light package design, okay. So a very light configuration, I mean, okay. So it's great. As you can see, package design now, Google API is installed. If you want to install Node daemon or this kind of stuff, you can. But to me, just the Node servers will be okay. We don't want to make things very complex, so we just will do some very simple call to the Google web service. Web server, I mean. So just Node server will be enough. Now I will create our drive API.js file. Okay, this is a file we will use to make call to the Google web service. Yes, I will say just the Google web service server. Okay, so to continue on our project, I will just copy out our private key and install this private key on the Google Drive on the project folder. Okay, I will rename it drive just private key. It will be more simple for us. Okay, private key.json. Okay, so now we got our follow project. We got our package JSON with the Google APIs library. We got the private key, and in fact, you just need this basically this different files, a sample file, to start to start to coding your API code. Okay, so we will now starting the coding. So what I will do on my drive API.js, and again you can call it as you want. I will just I will start by calling the different material we need to build the code. Okay, so the basic material in order to build the code, the API code more precisely. So we need firstly the Google library, Google APIs library. So we call it with destructuring assignment. I'll let you go on the web to find some documentation about it. So it requires Google API with the S. Don't forget the S. Okay. Oops. Okay. So it's great. I'll be precise. Imports Google API library. Okay, library. Okay. So now we will import the Google Drive module in Google library. So we call it Drive, and we can just say Drive, Google.drive, and we precise the version that we want to use. So in our case, we will use the third version. So we enter v3. Now get in fact the two main matters necessitaries for to build the API code. Okay. Now we will import our private key that allows us to make authorization requests, this kind of stuff. Okay, require key. No, require private key .json, and because it's the same for the precise it. Okay, now we will import two modules of Node.js that facilitate us the work in order to handle directories call and to work with the file system. So to work with the directories call, make directories call, we import sparse. Okay, so directories call, I will say. okay, so pass require pass, and I will import also the fs module of Node.js allow to handle data in the file system concretely. So read data, this kind of stuff. Fs quotes require fs. Great. So we got these two things now. Okay, so we got some materials from of Google side, I would say, and the material to make call to our directories and work with the file system. So now that we got the previous material, we will make the request in order to retrieve an authorization. Okay, an authorization array works with the Google Web Service. Okay, and in our case it will be the Google Drive Web Service. So we will firstly make a request to retrieve a JSON web token. So JSON web token, we make an acronym as GWT, a JSON web token. I will name this variable, the variable that will store its Google GW token. So the functions will be wrote like that. So new google.host.gwt in uppercase. Don't forget the uppercase. So okay, so what we will do concretely here, we will as I have just said to you some minutes ago, I have said that we need these two values, okay, the private key and the client email. So we will just import these two values in the JSON web token request. We import our client's email, okay, allowing I think it's to authenticate our application. So it's okay, client email. After that, we enter a new value. Then we communicate our private key, okay, and we enter again. No, it's not new value. We enter directly the scope of our application, so HTTPS, I think, okay, and we will make this request in the Google APIs.com /host pass. And because we want to work with Drive, we enter Drive, okay? And by entering Drive and nothing, not other precisions, we just communicate to the Google Web, the Google servers in abstract, that we provide the largest permissions to the service account again, okay? So the service account can by this way write on the Google Drive web service, move further, move files if it's necessary, rename, okay, you can do everything now with this scope, okay. So basically the scope was also defined with which application you want to work, okay. In fact, you get to enable the application on the Google the console.developers.google.com. Okay, so you got to enable the application that you want to work with, the web service, I mean. And after that, you get to precise that you want effectively to work with this API. Okay, so with this web service, I mean. Okay. Okay. So is that we have enabled the Google Drive API and we want to work with the Google Drive web service. I think it's something like that. So when you have configured, you just enter new, and then we can estimate that our JSON web token request is complete. Okay. So now we can we assume that the JSON web token will be will succeed. Okay. So will works. So we assume that now we have the token stored in this variable. So we can use this token to make another request, but this time for an authorization directly. Okay. So the authorization to works with the Google Web Service. Okay, and it's functions. The functions. Okay. So basically, in the first part, we had just asked for a token. Now we will ask for the authorization links to the token. So up, it's okay. Auth, and it's an arrow functions. Up, I will enter that like that. It's okay. Okay, so precise are current and consistent. So I have entered auth air as the lonely parameters, the only arguments. In fact, in Node.js you have a rules that is error callback. Okay, and so error callback is a rule to make consistent the error handling and exception handling. Okay, so if you want to learn more about the error callback, you can just to follow the link I have entered in under the video. I think it's very important and interesting to understand what are all these errors that you are probably crossed and encountered in your journey. So I just put the links that talk about that and foster you to read it. Okay, so now we continue. If we have error, if an error occurs, what will happen? What will happen is that an error object will populate this auth error arguments. Okay, so parameter. Okay, but an error object will act as a argument value for the auth error parameter. Okay, and we will ask if there is any value here. So return us the value that the value that have been entered in the auth error. Okay, so so basically, if error occurs, a value will be entered here. But if there is no value that if no value is entered here, populate the auth error parameter as argument. So the auth error as argument will have the value of null. Okay, so if there is a value of null, when we ask for if auth error is true, it will be returned null, so it's like returning false. So the if will be just ignore. Okay, so if the if is ignored, we will pass directly to the else the else code, so the else conditions. And so if there is no value, so return that the authorization have been accorded. Okay, I hope you're understanding. If you have any question, just ask me in comments. So also another thing, if there is any error, just return. Okay, it's really okay, it just returns. I don't think, yeah, it's returned. And other thing I forgot here is to 3W to reach Google APIs that come with drive pipes. So now we can estimate that we got our JSON web token, and we have retrieved our authorization to work with the web service, okay, the Google Drive web service. So now the Dijon Web Token store our authorization to work with the Google Drive web service. So we can now envisage to make request to the Drive web service, okay, directly. So yes, that. So what I will do now, firstly, before dive more deeply with with make any request, I would just control that our authorization is effectively recorded. So I will enter Node.js, so just Node. I will ask to the Node server to launch the Drive API.js file. So I will simply enter Drive API.js. Okay, it said to us that https googleapis.com.drive is not available on just string. So what is going on? HTTPS www. Okay, there is 4 W and not 3. Okay, so it's what turned me in error. I will retry now. Okay, authorization accorded. So it's okay. We have received our authorization. So now we will try to make some request to the Google Drive web service. So I will just go on the desktop. We'll go on the dock and we try to start. We start by list file. It will allow us to explore some interesting feature. So as you can see, I have added on my project folder. So maybe there is, okay, I can just delete it because we will create new folder. So I just copy paste here this in. So before going more dive more deeply in the project, we need to ensure that we have some parameter links to the Google Drive web service activated. So firstly, ensure that you are connected to Google Drive web service. So go on Google Drive. Okay, verify that you work with the accounts that you want effectively to work with. Okay, that it's okay, or it's the same accounts, or it's okay. And now we will go just on the home. Is it possible? Yes, maybe. Well, anyway, here you got your folder, okay? And here is just some files that you have sent, the more recent file sent in the Google Drive web service. As you can see, if you want to create folder, you just have to make a right click and go on new folder, or you can go on my drive and again you can just click on new folder. As you can see, I have a test folder here, but it's a great thing with Google Drive web service that you can name your folder with the same name, because what is very important to Google is not the name of your folder, but the ID of your folder. Okay, so here I have file D, as you can see, it starts by 1KA, and if I go on the home page and start with the other, is 1DL, so it's not 1KA. So it's a different folder, and by this way Google can distinguish the different folder. So it's great. It can be a great feature to organize your Google Drive file system in some way. Your Google Drive storing, okay, the storage. Okay, so as you can see, I have already set a folder. It is a test folder, and I will just, because we will make get request. In fact, we get the file list of this folder. I got to copy the ID value of the ID of my folder, and just paste it in here, a parent variable. I call it parents. Okay. So now my parent variables reflect the ID of the folder we want to work with. It's a great feature it's a great feature to be able to be available to target specific folder, because it allows you very deeply to set our programs in a way that allow us to work with the Google Drive web service very accurately. So it's very important and very interesting feature. So I will just show you that now how it's work. So you get your parents folder ID stored in this file. You get your folder ID stored in the parent variable. And as you can see, I have entered a query in my headers of the function that asks for retrieve the file in the folder, but is a folder that are out of the trash. Okay, so so I have just make a call here. Okay, so it's great. We have targeted our folder. Okay, in fact, it's just the parents of the file. That's why it's called parents, because we could call it folder. It will work in this exactly the same. It's not a problem. Okay, so now concretely, I have made a call. I have made a call to the drive.files.list method. Okay, or the drive module in the Google Drive, the Google API library. Okay, so firstly, I communicate to Google Drive that I have effectively the right to access to the data in the Google in the store, the data stored in the service. Okay, because if you remember, we have just set up an authorization with a GW token variable. So now we just have to copy paste this variable in the auth property. Okay, and then we get the page size property, which is just mean how many times we want to return by each page simply. And then we have a fields property in the header that just communicate in abstract to Google that we want make some callback with these values. Okay, so the ID of the files and the name of the files. We will handle these two this data in the following callback. So return to us just these values. Okay. So now that we have set our header, we can go to handle the data that we will retrieve by making this request. So we make a callback with the here in the here parameter as first argument. Okay, so remember that I just told you some minutes ago about the error callback in Node.js. Okay, you can find the link under the video. And if all is okay, just return us the data and we will handle the data. Okay, so if an error occurs, the console returns the error, and if all is okay, we will store the data.files property in a files variable. Okay, so and I will just rename it variable for consistency. So okay, so now we get our files stored in the files variables, and we make an iterative function that basically means until there is until all the files will be passed on the loop on the function, continues to send up the files we have retrieved by making this request. Okay, so here's the file.map by the map method, in fact, of the JavaScript, and we will retrieve all the file name and the file ID in present in the folder we have targeted. Okay, I hope it makes sense for you. So there will be another thing to make, but I will just test like that. Normally there is another thing to make, but I will just test if it's work like that, just to see, just to make the experience. And if there is no file, just return as no file found. So now I will launch again the drive API.js file, okay, code. So authorization encoded and no file found. Okay, so as I have just said some second ago, normally it will don't work, and effectively it don't works. It doesn't works, more precisely. So why it doesn't work? It doesn't work because in fact we aren't we didn't have share our test folder with our service account okay, so we get to share our folder, the folder we want to target, with our service account. Okay, so just copy in the first time the client's email, okay, so our service account email, and you just have to go on the folder you want to target, enter get shareable link as things, but I'm not sure it's that. No, I don't think it's that. Go and share, okay, and make that anyone with the link can edit. So now enter the email that we want to share the folder with, and send it. Oops, it's not that. So it's not that. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's just not the oh. Maybe something going wrong, because it's not the address. Now it's the address. Okay, send, shared with one person. So now when we try to get the file, normally it will return us the file. Okay, so it's basically we have just shared the folder with our service account, so now it works. We can retrieve the file and target the folder. And I will make another test. It's to, I don't know if I can to copy paste the file in, make a copy. Okay, so we will just see if the copy is shared. So copy of desktop.png. Okay, so what it means? It means that when you share your folder, we can assume that the future update of your folder will be also shared with the service account. Okay, so it's very great. Now the test folder and our service account are linked, so we can implement the test folder in our programs and work with it. Okay, so basically what this is, how it works. And if you want to work above any folder, specific folder, you just have to I will just take it, pass it as a comment. Oops, it's because I have selected. Okay, and now normally without precisions it will iterate over all the folder presented in your Google Drive web service. Okay, so I will test. So we call it iterate. and we will paste in some documents. So basically I will just paste in our package design. So normally it will return us all. Okay, now you have the getting started, but I think we haven't retrieved the package design fair because we haven't shared it with we didn't have shared the folder with our program. So I will just make another time the same thing. So enter email, copy, paste, ups, and share with, get your link. Let's see. Okay, we'll test another time. Okay, now we got the thing. Okay, you have b.json, and I can't see where is a.json. We have b, but we haven't got the a. It's strange. I don't know why. I will go try another time. Okay, now we have the two files. So I don't know, maybe it needs some time to share the file inside the folder. So anyway, you can see basically how you can to work with your folder. You can choose which folder you want to share with, and with which folder you want to keep outside of the scope of your server's account. Okay, so basically we could now dive more deeply on how to exclude some servers, this kind of stuff. I will don't dive in more deeply because it will overcome the scope of this tutorial. I will just show you basically how it works. Okay, so if you want more information, you just go on the documentation. You will find everything you need to work more precisely with the Google Drive to get list on the Google Drive web service. Okay, so now we have to do this first request. We will make another request. So we will just upload a file, okay, on the Google Drive web service. Okay, so basically again import the file in my project folder, and again you can see I have entered some folder ID, but it's not the good ID, so I will again change it. So now we targeted the test folder. So basically how works, in fact it's like a post request, okay, in the Google Drive web service. So basically how works a post method in the Google Drive web service. Before going more to dive more deeply in this step, I just want to make a check with you. So as you can see, we are now at the end of the tutorial because it's the last part, okay, of our tutorial. Okay, we have made the requirement, we have under the get the basics of the get file list request, and now we will end with a upload a file to a folder, okay, request. So it's request is a post, it's like a post method. Okay, so basically it's more the same thing that to make a get list request. We again have a folder ID, okay, we again have the authorization, and basically this is the two things that are very important: the authorization and the targeting. The rest is just some basic code. We will we will just name a file, the file that we want to upload on the Google Drive web service. What is interesting with that is that the real name of your file is not important, okay? Because in this example, the file that we will send to the Google web service, Drive web service, it's called text.txt, okay? But we can name it as we want, okay? We can name it, for example, upload.txt, d'accord? Okay, despite that the real name is text.txt. So just remember that you can choose the custom name of your file that you will want on the Google Drive web service. So I will just create a file, text.txt. Upload accomplished, we enter in, so just plain text file. Okay. As you can see, we handle this upload with file system module and the path module. Okay, it's now that we can see the interest of these two modules. Basically, the path.rent method means that the programs, the code here, have to consider that we will search the file by considering that the folder in which the file of the code file is included will be the root directory in some way to search for the file. Okay, I'm not sure that you have understood what I have said. I will make an explication on this video. And the fs.createReadStream method basically just allows us to read some binaries data, some data on the file system and enter it at the value of the body property. Okay. So now that we have our file, we have the name of our file, we have the folder that we want to target. Okay. So the folder ID is again enter is a parent's property. Okay. Again, I mean it's just enter its parent property, other value. We have also to precise the mean type of the file we want to send to the Google web service. And there's different kinds basically represents the headers of the code we will make. Okay. So I repeat, we have the folder ID, the name of the folder ID, and we enter it in the parent property. We have the name of our file, the meme type of our file, and the path of our file. Okay. Now we call the method drive.file.create in order to create the file. So in some way to create a file in the folder that we target, but that means in the same way to upload the file. Okay. Because it will be transmit to our Google Drive folder targeted. Okay. So again, we got authorization. Resource file metadata correspond to the name and the folder targeted, the name of the file and the folder targeted. Media corresponding to the file we want to send and the meme type of the file, of the files. And again, the fields we have talked about the fields some minutes ago. It's just the data we want to retrieve to make the callback. Okay, here we just want to retrieve the ID of the file that we have sent. Okay, in some way it's very interesting because it allows us to enter by example the ID of the file stored in the Google Drive web service as the ID of another object entered, for example, in an external database. Okay, for example, in the external MongoDB database, you can have by this way the same ID in the same in the object stored in different location. Okay, so it could be very interesting. So it is a lot the management of your data. So keep this in your mind, and by the same way you can enter other reference that you want in this property. By the same way, I want to precise that I have a Twitter link to the reference of the Google API. I'm not sure it's a Google Drive API. I will just get an eye with you now. So in the Google documentation, there is some documentation I will put to you in the that will allow you to go more deeply on the subject or the subject concerned by this tutorial. So you get normally the reference. So here in this link, you can go. So it's for the Google Drive API reference, and you can find here the different reference to make your hiders and this kind of stuff. Okay. So hope it makes sense for you. So now that we have set our ID, our headers, I mean, and we have set the data we want to receive to make our callback, we will go just to we just make the callback. So again, the error callback have first a parameter, okay, always in Node.js, and then the file parameters if the data is effectively returned. So so I won't go talk about error again. You now understand that. So console.log us error if any error occur, and else console.log just return us the file ID. Okay, basically. So if you want to make that the ID of your file is the same ID of an eventual object in MongoDB database or other database, in this same movement, you just have to make variables and enter a value ID equals file ID, this kind of stuff. Okay, and by this way you can retrieve the ID. Okay, it's just pseudocode what I have done an instant ago. Okay, it's just pseudocode in practice. Just be careful about the type data as array of this kind of stuff. In one word, just do what it's necessary for your application. Okay. So okay, we now just test that the code works fluently, and that we can effectively send upload that text to our Google Drive folder. So it just said to us that JSON effectively client is not defined. It's right, because that was on another session. So I will now restart, and we say to us that make some time. Authorization records, file undefined. So we will go firstly to see if the file will be effectively sent. So I will refresh, and we have effectively our upload.txt file here. Upload accomplished. Okay, so we have accomplished successfully an upload to the Google Drive web service. Okay, it's very great. So now, why the file ID is undefined? It's because we have to enter data. It's not very clear to me why we have to enter data, so I can give more explanation about this subject. But we have to make that, and we have to make that. So we just rename, and we will try the upload authorization record, and now we have the file ID. Okay, it's great. So by the same way, if you want to store some data in value, so I precise pseudocode. But if you want to store some data, just keep in mind you got to make file data here again, okay, also, okay. Okay, so I mean it's great. Maybe to finish this tutorial, I will just see if you don't precise any further what is occur. Okay, so you can see we can see by this way how it works. So we can check by the same way that upload to is arrived. It's okay, it's arrived. So now we will try without precise on the parent folder, and normally it's go on the home page, I think. So I'll go on my page. I don't know where it's here. Upload. Is not right. Don't know. It's a great question. Well, but I don't know precisely what is occurring in this case, because I have more often works with with folder targeting, so it's a bit I have not really searched for this precise situation, but I think it could go on some default folder or something like that. Anyway, if you want, you can go on the documentation. And now I have just to say you to pass a very good day and make great code, enjoy the life, and we will meet together in another tutorial. Thank you. Bye.